Never mind, I'm joking. I totally knew that. We're both smart.
Welcome once again to Chill Filtered, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should, and you probably are, and that's why we gosh darn love you. This week on the podcast, we are drinking Sagamore Spirit Rye, but before I get to any details on the rye, before I even get to how Robbie or myself were doing in life, let's talk about some business. I'm going to Patreon it this week. So patreon.com/chillfiltered is the place to go. And if you want to be a part of the drink alongs, which by the time this episode comes out, we will have done a drink along just the day before. And we would have drank the Nulu ADHD whiskey, a recent rye pick with the green cork wax and all that stuff. I'm sure we loved it. Darn sure we loved it, especially if Matt picked it.
Likely great.
What's that?
It was likely very great.
Oh, it's amazing. Likely.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, if you get on the $10 or more tier on patreon.com, you will get fun samples such as that. And like we have Bookers coming up. We have another Elijah Craig Barrel Proof coming up. We have a special rye from Kings County Distillery coming up on that. And then get this. Shout out to Ben Klepsig, who helped us out today. He is getting us a scotch, and that scotch will remain under wraps. But this scotch, let's just say it's over 20 years old. And I have really good feeling about it. And we will be sharing that in months to come on Drink Along. So if you want to be a part of that, you want to do the YouTube live with us, comment along, and just chat with us, we would love that. Hit us up on patreon.com/chillfiltered. That's the business. Robbie, how you doing?
I'm okay. I'm feeling it's one of those Friday after work recordings where there's some stress of like hurry up and get home, get this, So I'm a little on the stressed side.
I'm feeling that too.
Yeah. I think it's just one of those things, like there's a lot of like even this week, like this morning I was like, oh crud, we're gonna record it. I haven't even posted the what whiskey would you choose, and like, wait, Cole didn't even posted two picks, and I was like, it must be one of those busy weeks, man.
One of those.
It was one of those weeks where like from Wednesday on, I kept thinking it's got to be Friday. Like, why isn't it Friday right now? Like, so Friday's here. We're recording, and I don't know, man. I think I haven't gotten into an entry buzz yet. That might be part of the problem. Just like I think once it's so good once it hits your lips, and then you can relax a little bit, right?
Hit the lips and relax.
But no, man,
I'm kisser.
I'm feeling all right, though, I guess. I'm excited for the weekend. Chelsea's got it off. And we're going to go for a nice long bike ride. Cooler weather is here. So we're going to take the kids on a bike ride and do some coffee shops. And I think I'm going to fire up the solo stove in the backyard tomorrow morning and drink my coffee out there. And, it's just kind of nice. It'll be nice.
That's
nice
cool.
Weekend. And we got a lot of stuff. Like last weekend was busy. Like we got, oh my gosh, did a whole pickup bed full of like toys out of the kids' playroom to donate. And like, so we've got the house all kind of, I think every weekend, I think this is going to be the weekend where we have a clean, put together house. Oh, I'm getting a new stove tomorrow too.
Ooh, and not just a solo stove.
No, solo. New oven's coming tomorrow, and I'm very excited. Yeah. So I'm
into that.
I'm going to bake some bread on Sunday. I'm going to roast a chicken on Sunday. And, I'm ready. I'm glad. Our current stove has been sometimes it cooks, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, like Chelsea, you'll pull out the brownies and be like, well, they're very mushy still.
Well, I don't hate on that, pull them out. Bread,
and then they'll pull them out other times, and it'll be very burnt right away. So I don't know. Yeah, so new stove's coming. I'm excited.
Wow,
it's the little things in life as an adult.
What was the phrase that the guy used? Inaccurate?
Inaccuracies.
So inaccurate. Yeah.
And it meanders from temperature to temperature.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How you been, man?
Been good. It's, I talked about last week. There was the thing at work where I'm like, all right, I'm going to start, thinking of new ideas and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I started to this week 4 different times and hit not like dead ends or like hit walls or anything, but I definitely hit points where I'm like, okay, this isn't worth my time, this direction I was going. And so I'm on my fourth like new idea now, which is good. Like I'm thinking of ideas that are hopefully going to be useful. But just kind of a little bit discouraged in that way of like, man, I wish I could have like something that just like pans out really quick. And I'm like, oh, this is very useful. So that's just one thing at work. But otherwise, this next week, the week this podcast comes out, will be my 9th anniversary.
Oh, nice.
And so, yeah, so we're celebrating this tomorrow. We're recording on Friday. So on Saturday, Heather and I are going to this like nice, fancy, like 6-course meal restaurant.
Ooh.
And, but I was looking up reviews for it. I'll see how it goes. We'll maybe talk about it next week. But I was looking at recent reviews for it, and people were like, some people get the 10-course meal option, which is like probably 70% more in price.
That doesn't even make sense mathematically. It's only what?
Yeah.
4 more courses.
Yeah, exactly. It's additive, yo. But anyway, it is like I saw the recent reviews, and it was like people were like, it's not filling at all. Like even with 10 courses, it didn't like fill me up. And you would kind of expect that for 10 courses, and then expect it for the price too, because it wasn't cheap, even for the 6-course option. But and then some people were like, I don't know. Some people got to complain, and that's maybe what's going on. I'm keeping an open mind. I'm keeping an open stomach, and
keep a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in your pocket,
exactly,
too, just in
case. Just in case. And yeah, there's rare times I'll like spend too much on a dinner, but 9 years anniversary is pretty awesome.
That's big. No, I think we rarely go to like upscale, fancy, expensive places, but every once in a while it's nice. My favorite on our anniversary this summer, we went to Chandler's, and my favorite is they come out with the amuse-bouche, which was just like a little spoonful of I don't know what it was, but I being treated to an amuse-bouche at the beginning of a meal makes me feel like
I'm into that.
Fancy man.
I'm into the amuse-bouche.
Yeah,
no, that's cool. And then, I'm excited for the drink along this weekend. Should be fun.
Yeah,
jewelry has been great, except for this week. I haven't gotten a sale in like 10 days. But that's okay. It just always pops back up. Right. Did I tell you I got a 2-star review this week?
Oh no.
Yeah, but I didn't let it get to me. I decided that I was going to reach out and say, hey, I'm always looking for 5 stars. Can I remake it for you? And they said yes. And they said, I appreciate that. And I will, if I, basically it was like, if I like it, I'll change my review. And it seemed like they were saying that, but
you would hope.
It's fine with me. What's that?
At the very least, that bumps it up to a 3 or 4 star, because you're like, you know what, it wasn't quite what I wanted, but really worked hard on getting it fixed. So
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, life's good. I'm gonna work on that, and I have other jewelry projects to work on. But Beck has been just amazing. She's been cuddly lately, and like she'll like hug you and lean into it, and you're like, oh my goodness, best ever. So best thing for a 1.25-year-old. And,
speaking of kids, Finley, did I mention Finley lost her first tooth?
No, do tell.
So we had some friends over, and like, gosh, it's probably like 2 families of 5 each, so 10 extra people. And Finley comes, like one of the girls comes and goes, Finley's tooth is really loose. And I look at it, and it's like, it's just like ready to go. And I go, let me see, Finley. And I pushed it real hard, so it cracked that way. And she didn't do it. She was fine. And then so I was like, let me see. Nice. And I pull it, and it came out. And then like everybody, everybody that was there was like, Finley, making a big deal.
Nice.
Poor Junie goes over to Chelsea, and she's like, I didn't lose a tooth.
Oh.
And then this week we were doing their homework, and it was really cute but sad. And like one of the things, like they're supposed to do an about me page, and it was like, what is something cool about you? And Junie kept saying things like, when I lose a tooth.
I'll be cool then.
Yeah. And I don't know.
I love that.
She's so cute. And, oh man, like because Junie doesn't get to that emotional side, but to see her get that way kind of pulled the heartstrings to her. Like, oh baby, yeah. So
that's cute.
Yeah. Tooth Fairy has not yet come. Finley has been waffling on whether or not she wants to give her tooth away or not. So
that's legit. I respect.
Yeah, and we've lost the tooth like 3 times. So
when or what does the tooth fairy give in your section of the country?
They get this tooth fairy typically leaves. Can you hear me? Okay, still?
I can. Yeah. Can
Okay,
you hear
I heard
me?
a little pop, and I thought maybe my mic turned off. Yeah, I can hear you.
No,
Okay.
you're good.
What is it? A Sacagawea coin. So $1.
Ah, so shiny.
Yeah.
So Native American.
My wealthier brother-in-law's son was talking about how much he got, and I was like, "Shut up!"
Yeah,
that's that tooth fairy.
That's a lot of money for a lot of teeth. I would lose them quicker if I were your brother-in-law's kid.
Have you ever? You need Teen Titans Go Tooth Fairy episode. It cracks me up.
Nice.
But the Tooth Fairy on Teen Titans Go takes kids' teeth to eat them, and it's disgusting. I think it's the most. Could you imagine eating a tooth? Like that's just gross.
You just swallow it like a pill.
Well, chewing it.
Chewing it's counterproductive. Teeth versus teeth.
But that's what he does. He chomps them.
He must have strong teeth.
I need to start watching Teen Titans Go again. Yeah,
you should. It sounds to me like you should.
It's a fun show. It's like the second time I brought it up on the show. It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm. The booty scooty. Scoot your booty. Anyway, that's what you taught me.
Anywho. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yes. So let's anything else you want to talk about? I feel
like I don't know. I feel like we do. We're kind of
organic enough. What's that?
I feel like if we're just forcing things to talk about.
That's all.
Cool. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? No, we already did that.
Well, what do you? Did you entry buzz? I see. You said you didn't. So
no, I did. I did take a sip of Wild Turkey 101.
Nice. I am sipping the 2020 fall release of the Distiller's Cut from Del Bach, Whiskey Del Bach. So cheers. It's a good one. It's the one that was finished in High West Rye barrels. So I'm digging it.
Did I have that one? I had that one.
You had it for the drink along.
Drink along. That's right. And that was Del Bach. Always good.
What a pro. Those Del Bach people.
Del Bachians.
Yeah. Del Bachians. So let's take a walk. Let's go for a little break. And when we get back, we'll talk about Sagamore Spirit Distillery. And we'll talk about stuff related to that. But let's do that. Let's go to break and we'll be right back. And we're back.
We are.
With Chill Filtered. Chill friggin' filtered.
So, the filthiest.
Oh, it's filthy.
Chilliest.
All
right. I said filthy, not filthy.
We should do, instead of our Chili's awards, we should do our filthy awards. You filthy animal.
You filthy animal.
Yeah. So
at the count of 10 to get your no good. Yellow.
Yeah.
Keister off my property.
Filthy.
Before I pump your guts full of lead.
Full of lead. 1, 2, 10. Hey, keep the change, you filthy animal.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. All right, one last tip from me. Big shout out to Brian Rapp this week.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
for sending us a buttload of samples.
Holy moly.
Like 12 or something, I want to say.
Dude, it was a lot.
Yeah.
It like restocked the sample shelf in a major way.
Yeah, for sure. So, shout out to that friggin' baller. Double ding, baby. I love it. Yeah, and one of those is what we're drinking today, the Sagamore Spirit Rye Barrel Select. This is 7-year, and I'll get into that. But this is definitely our first Sagamore Spirit Distillery product on the podcast. I hope it's not our last, because there are plenty that they make, and I would love to try more. But we'll find out if we really want to try more when we taste it, because I've never actually had Sagamore Spirit Rye. This one, like I said, is a barrel select, barrel pick. So I probably won't be able to find this one again, but I'll probably be able to find ones from the distillery later if I want. So let's talk about the distillery. It all started with a guy named Kevin Plank. And Kevin Plank is a well-known entrepreneur, actually, especially on the East Coast, especially the Mid-Atlantic area. I actually know someone who knows this guy from college. He went to the University of Maryland. He lives in Baltimore. But anyway, he started a brand called Under Armour. Did you know?
No,
Oh.
I was just thinking like that Miss Lippy's one fine piece, not Miss Lippy. That Veronica Vaughn is one nice piece.
Oh, that's right.
I know from experience. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
I know a guy who does.
Yeah, exactly. No, you don't. Anyway, so he's a
what about you, Sideburns? You want
fast-paced-
some milk? I'd rather have a whiskey. That's trying to make it more topical.
Perfect. It's so relatable now.
Yeah.
If peeing your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis. Anyway,
it's hard.
He started a brand, Under Armour, and he's a really fast-paced, like go-getter type businessman. And on top of that, he's a big whiskey connoisseur. And I was listening to an interview with the CEO of Sagamore Spirit. His name is Brian Treacy. And it might be pronounced Tracy, but I'm going to go with Treacy. And he went to high school with Kevin Plank. And they kept up for years. And apparently Kevin always wanted Brian to work for him at Under Armour. But Brian was running an outdoor excursion company in Flagstaff, Arizona, and didn't find it interesting enough to work in the apparel industry. But around 2012, Kevin presented Brian with a greater idea, starting a Maryland Distillery that offered the world a Maryland Style Rye whiskey. And Brian was down, and he wasn't super educated in the spirit making world, but he started surrounding himself with people that could teach him about it. And he sold his businesses in Arizona and soon after came to Baltimore. Now, they definitely had to get a product going, and they needed to source, at least at the time. And it sounds like these days they're trying to make their own spirit, but for now they're sourcing. And they sourced from MGP in Indiana, but only ryes. But not just one rye mash bill of rye either. But let's quickly talk about what Kevin Plank had in mind for his distillery. A Maryland Style Rye? ?
What?
What is that? So back before Prohibition, there were the top 3 states that were really killing it in the whiskey scene was Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, apparently. And each was known for their specific whiskey style. Kentucky was most known for their bourbon, especially because corn grew really well in Kentucky. But in Pennsylvania and Maryland, rye was the predominant grain, and each state had their own style of rye whiskey. We talked a little bit about Pennsylvania rye on episode 64, at least with the Monongahela style rye.
I think you nailed it.
And that was on the Tattersall rye whiskey episode. Anyway, I was reading on the website marylandspirits.org, and it wasn't very helpful, but I'll read this for how funny I found it. And what the page was titled, "What is Maryland Rye?" So let's take a little excerpt from that. The consensus, listen to this, so funny to me. The consensus among whiskey drinkers and those in the whiskey industry now and in the past is that Maryland Style Rye is rye whiskey. The recipe is loose, but it has a mash bill of mostly rye, a lot of corn, and a little something else, usually malted barley, but could be wheat or another grain. And the recipes vary, and they always have the recipes varying, but it's the spicy rye cushioned with sweet corn and just a little hint of 1 or 2 other grains that gives Maryland rye whiskey its dynamic taste. It is delicate and bold, spicy and fruity, all separately and at the same time. And I find that really funny
about that.
Yeah, because it's like, how is that different from any other rye? I mean, like, some ryes are not that. I'll tell you that. But most ryes are that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was funny. But that being said, here is how Sagamore Spirit differentiates their rye from others. Firstly, I'll say this. It's cut with limestone filtered water from Maryland. even though
Oh,
it's
okay.
distilled in Indiana, and then specifically from their own spring house that someone built in 1909. Secondly, they blend 2 different mash bills and ages of matured rye distillate after the aging process, both from MGP at the moment. One is a high rye recipe, so not like a high rye bourbon, and the other is a low rye recipe whiskey. And it seems like that's all, or that's for all of their products. They do like a mixture of like a high rye recipe and a low rye recipe. But here's where it gets interesting: is that what we're drinking today is a single barrel. So I imagine it's one or the other, and I don't know, based on what I do know, I don't know which one it is, if it's the high rye or the low rye of the single barrel. But so let's talk about what we're drinking today. So this, I don't know a ton about this. It is a barrel select program from a liquor store in Arizona. And this is a Brian Rapp joint. So he got it from Scottsdale, a liquor store called Trevor's Liquor. Look him up on Instagram
Hey,
at
Trev.
Trevor's Liquor. Trevor, baby. Aged 7 years and cut to 110 proof, which is apparently a thing for a lot of their barrel picks, is just cut to 110 proof, which is a good proof. On the label, it says barrel 24, location F1R1. Don't know what that means, but I'm sure it's like a rick house and a row or whatever.
SR71, named after the Blackbird.
Yeah,
it kind of reminded me of that.
Or a 737 or something like that. Anyway, named after another bird. Bottled this year.
737 is named after a bird.
What's that?
737 is named after a bird.
It is a bird. Think about
737 is a bird.
Birds aren't real, Robbie. Planes are. There's like a movement that's like birds aren't real.
Yeah, I don't know much.
But it's also like a fake movement. Apparently, it's like kind of for kicks.
That's probably how like flat earthing came about.
That's how it started, and then like people were like, "Yeah, that."
Sorry if you're a flat earther and you like our podcast.
Sorry. Yeah, you can like.
But I mean, I can see why. Like honestly, like I think we probably have a majority of our audience is probably flat earthers. Right?
Funny if like we like show up to a chill filtered like hangout one day and everyone's just like rather talk about flat earth theory. Yeah. So
anyway.
Yeah, I don't even want to name any names.
This conversation just convinced me I'm a flat earther now. I'm with you guys.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I forgot to mention. Oh no, I got one more thing. Bottled this year. Total Wine price. It wasn't a Total Wine thing, so but Brian said it was about $65 for the bottle. And thanks again, Brian. Let's sip.
Let's sip. Take a dip.
Let it rip.
And swish for the
fish.
Lip. Dude, we're not,
Ooh, this is dark.
I'm hoping we drink this and we start firing on all cylinders. Because I feel like, it's not bad, but it's not great right now.
Oh, it'll be good.
You think so? You think, I don't know. This is going.
I wasn't thinking that. Well, I guess so.
Speaking of Earth,
some jokes.
Speaking of Earth, we're a little flat ourselves right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what about flat? No.
I feel like we are.
You know what's not flat? The nose on this rye whiskey. But have you seen the color of this? This is dark for those on YouTube. Yeah. That's pretty dark for a pour.
So what is this? How long is this aged?
7 years min.
Okay.
But it is at least 7 years because it's a single barrel.
Okay, so question. If MGP produces your juice,
can you call it a Maryland Rye?
Well, not well, I'm just like they use the Maryland water. So can you just be like, hey, MGP, like custom order kind of how you want like your footprint for your thing to be? Your whiskey to be? I think
MGP typically sends it to the sourcing distillery and then they can continue. So sometimes, like for example, Smoke Wagon will age. Everything will be done at MGP for the most part. I don't even think they bottle it in Nevada.
So,
but
or
some
do they?
like for example, Blue Note, I believe, I forget. I think Blue Note's MGP, but they age it in Memphis,
So,
and then
but you
do
said they
everything
use
with it.
the Maryland limestone water
That's correct.
in the whole distilling process, or just to cut it with?
No, I think just the cutting at the end. Yeah,
Oh, okay. That's what got me.
cutting to proof. Yeah.
But I would assume that like it's a business, and if you showed up and like, here's the water you're going to use for the whiskey I'm going to buy, they bet they would.
Plus, if you think about it, that doesn't really help
The distilling
Sagamore
process.
in this case, because Sagamore would have had, like, for a 7-year rye, they would have had to produce or give them the water, 7 years ago. So they might as well have just distilled it themselves.
That's obvious.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know a lot of things, but I do know the Earth is flat.
Yeah, that I do know. Yeah, super flat. It's like paper thin flat.
Oh man, like you don't dig more than 5 feet down.
Yeah, you'll fall through the earth.
You'll fall out.
And you'll fall into.
So in the flat
apparently
Earth,
in the flat Earth theory, there's like other planets are round and spherical, but not the Earth.
oh, that makes sense. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
In flat Earth friends, in our belief system, do people live underneath us? Or are we all just on top of the flat Earth?
I think part of it is
But
like
if you
the
like,
sun does revolve around the Earth or something like that, even though it is flat. It's weird.
You know what I learned the other day, and I think this is true.
Or not revolve, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Tides don't actually come in and out specific to their origin. It's when the Earth turns, it goes into a deeper part of the ocean and a thinner part of the ocean based on gravitational pull with the moon.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I don't know. I feel like never mind. I'm joking. I totally knew that. We're both smart.
So here's something cool: is that tides aren't just water. The Earth actually moves up to 14 inches, is from what I hear, based on the gravitational pull of the moon. Like the actual ground will move a little bit.
Oh, really?
On which side of the Earth the moon is.
Okay. I took a sip and I want to talk about that, but I probably should talk about the note. I'm going to talk about the palate first. I'm going to go through there. This has a remarkably unique mouthfeel to it.
Yeah.
Like it just like it's a hub of what on the mouthfeel for me for sure. Like it is thick, but also very light at the same time. Like it's really, I don't even know how to describe it. Like I really like the mouthfeel. Not getting a ton of like a rye spice, but I am getting a lot of like very minty,
I can get behind that a little bit.
Peppermint, wintergreeny kind of a notes on it on my first sip at least. So I'm gonna go back for another one.
So nose notes I'm getting honey, like deep, like amber, like dark honey, and I am getting the rye spice a little bit on the nose. I could tell it's probably a rye over a bourbon by just the nose of it. But the mouth, yeah, like the palate and the mouthfeel, yeah, I agree. It's like really, really nice, somewhat viscous, but also like super thin at the same time. It's pretty weird. But it is, I like it. I think it's
I like it a lot too. It's my second sip. Still, I get a lot of mintiness. Very minty. It is more like a mint. I don't know, like what you would use for a mojito kind of mint that is.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't. And but then it has a very earthy oakiness to it in a good way. And then all of a sudden, like I start to get a little bit of that rye spice, and it finishes with like I got a nice pepper lingering on my palate right now. So
this is pepper a little bit.
I don't know. To me, there's a lot going on here. It's got some movement. It changes on me, but I like this is really good. I like this so far.
Yeah, there is. I'll be honest. I like it a lot. It kind of the finish doesn't get bad, but it kind of drops off.
You think so?
There are some ryes of this caliber on the palate that just like continue forever, but there's just something where it just kind of I don't really have much of a finish left. And it's not quick. Don't get me wrong. It's a decent finish, but then at some point it's just like nothing. To me, at least. Yeah.
I'm still lingering. Like pepper. Excuse me, got the hiccups. I get peppers lingering around for a while. Golly, hiccups. Pepper is lingering a long time for me, and then there is like a nice little mild sweetness that I still have on the palate. Although that being said, it does kind of come close to like some bitter notes almost, but I don't feel like it quite gets there enough to be like, oh, this is a little bitter. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I don't know.
I'll take whatever you got. Give it the old spin J with some 3 drops of water in this little pour. I think it might actually, like, there's potential this could be a really good proof with a few drops. So far smells great. Little bit of caramel on the nose for me.
Okay. Yeah, it's
definitely
sweeter.
Rye spice.
Definitely sweeter with water on the nose.
Yeah,
I can see caramel with a mild like rye spiciness to it.
Definitely a different palate.
The nose is way better with water. What are you getting?
So the palate just reminds me of like a good rye, and I'll say that just because like it's not bad. It's definitely got the rye spice, baking spices, things like cinnamon. You were talking about that mint. I wouldn't say it's like, sometimes we get that mint and like cedary. No cedary here, just a little bit of mint, but a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of like still that
cinnamon
caramel showing up. Yeah.
Cinnamon just showed up for me a little bit. Like it's there, but not
strong,
completely there.
Yeah.
Cinnamon's my favorite note on a rye. Minting, like the mintiness I was getting before is there for a second, and then it's gone. And then it definitely, like, it feels hotter. Like it feels more vapory and kind of hits you in a little bit of a wave there. Like it really rises and then it kind of starts to fade. I'm getting a little bit of minty on the back end here, but it's really like, it's got an interesting sweetness to it because it's not an overpowering sweetness. It's just nice and subtle and there.
My second sip wasn't as pleasant. I kind of got a weird oaky note. I wouldn't call it soapy, but it was the oak wasn't pleasant. It was kind of overpowering, but that was just it might have been a weird taste. I don't know. We'll find out.
I can see the oakiness being a little more prominent. Oh my gosh. No. Oh, so all of a sudden when I started talking, I got real hot again. Like, I like this. This has some complexity to it for sure. It's not necessarily what I expect or really would go for in a rye, but it hits on a lot of the things that I do love in a rye. So
I much prefer the neat, to be honest. Altogether. Yeah.
I like them both a lot.
I don't like that second to third sip I got.
Yeah. I like them all a lot. I'm a fan so far. Let's see what this does with some ice.
Honey on the nose with ice.
Hard to hold.
It kind of mutes a lot of it.
You said you got honey? Okay.
That's kind of the main note I'm getting, just a faint honey. I'm not even getting rye spice notes on it either for the ice pour.
I think a lot of it, yeah, you're right. Muted. A little bit of, I can see the honey a little bit more now. There's a faint sweetness on the nose. I wasn't really getting it with the first 2 pours at all in the nose, but now I'm getting a little bit of the honey.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, I'm done. Just on the palate, super bitter. I would never drink that. Like I might not even just finish this little bit. So a great example of a whiskey that tastes great neat, but not good at all with some ice. In my opinion, I don't know if you like it. I could use
what don't you like about, like, what do you said, just bitter?
Bitter, and the oak is a little astringent.
I can see, oak. To me, this is not bad with water. I'm not like you're having a visceral response. I'm like, it's not bad. I wouldn't drink it, but I can see where you wouldn't, because the oak is much more prominent. And it hits in a weird way. It's a different kind of oak.
Yeah.
So
I hate if I were just to rank on the the ice pour, I would give it one of the worst ratings probably we've ever had. But that's okay. Luckily, they got a great neat pour.
Was it Templeton that we hated? That was real earthy.
So last week we said it was Templeton, but it actually was, or no, we said Redemption.
It was Templeton.
It was Rittenhouse.
Rittenhouse. That's right.
Correction from last week. Yeah, Rittenhouse.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of like with ice. It kind of goes in that same direction that that Rittenhouse did. It's definitely not the best. It's not as bad with ice as Rittenhouse was all around, but
yeah,
it goes in that earthy, interesting direction.
Grassy. But this isn't grassy, and it's not like earthy in a gritty way. It's earthy in like a oaky way. I don't know. I didn't like it. So I wouldn't recommend putting ice in this, but
I would not put ice in it.
Okay, cool.
I would not do. I mean, it's not bad, but
it's just not better in any way.
I think it's like I feel like me especially, I'm doing a poor job of really nailing things down on this one. And I don't know where I was going with that. But okay,
you're pretty.
No, that's what I was going to say is it might be worth it. Like this thing I like about this the most is just it's complicated, right? There's a lot of going on, and I don't know if I've ever had something like this because whatever I'm getting off the ice, I'm like I've never really tasted it oak or weird note like that before. So it might be worth just if you got a bottle, put some ice in it. Just if you can help me out here, man. Somebody drop some cubes and let me know.
Drop some cubes
where it's at because I don't know what I'm tasting.
So like we always do, I always rate on the best pour and not the overall pours. So you have a rating in mind? Because I think I do.
I do. Okay. I'm gonna go 8.7, 8.8 on this. I like neat in water. There's a lot going on. There's a nice mintiness. There's a little bit of cinnamon. Water brought some heat. I don't know. I think I prefer water a little bit more because that's where I was finally getting the cinnamon on it. I think neat and water both have a good oakiness to it that I can appreciate. So yeah, I'm gonna go 8.8.
I'm gonna go 8.3 here.
Okay.
I thought it was great. I thought it was definitely 8 status easily, especially on the neat pour. Really good rye spice, really good honey, good proof for sure altogether. I would be very interested in the rest of their product line. But I wouldn't say much more than 8.3 because it didn't blow my mind or get too close to that, but it was quality. And so that's why I'm giving it 8.3. So yeah.
All right.
I like it.
It's great.
I will not drink it again. Like I have this much left of water or ice pour. Not even gonna try it. It was not good. So
that's sad. That's sad that you've had that much left of the ice that you're not gonna drink.
I know. Maybe I'll give it to the ground. The ground shall drink of my whiskey with ice. So with that, since I said ground, I think it's time.
Give it to the ground.
Threw it on the ground. Yeah. Whiskey World News starts now.
And Whiskey World News did not start when Cole said it would because we had some transition music, but Whiskey World News starts now. All right. This article comes from Food and Wine, written by Nate Ganapathy, and it's titled Learn to Taste Whiskey Like a Pro. I'm always trying to enhance my palate to offer my clients a better experience each and every time I speak to them during a whiskey, tequila, mezcal, or gin tasting. For example, something I thoroughly enjoy tasting is pulling out the different botanicals based on flavors associated with that country, like yuzu for Japan or seaweed for the Pacific Northwest. When tasting whiskey in particular, there are several important tips to bear in mind. Having judged several spirit competitions over the year, I have learned the ways in which you can enhance or take away flavor are quite astonishing. Obviously, you want to avoid adding any other flavors to a whiskey. First, how to prepare your palate for whiskey. I strongly recommend warming up your palate. This means entry buzzing, often coined by our friends at Chill Filtered. Now, I wish it said that.
I'm glad we're famous now.
This means starting off with
because of Matt Porter.
This means starting off with either a light cocktail to awaken your senses or going to a non-cask strength whiskey. Try to warm up with something in the 40 to 47% ABV range. Nothing stronger. You want your palate's pores to open up slowly. Opening up too quickly can be a real shock to the system. For me personally, having French bread, plain cheese, and celery on hand during a tasting has been crucial to revamping my palate. They are all mild foods, and they help restore the palate at a fairly rapid rate. Other foods I enjoy while tasting to enhance my experience include Bush's baked beans. Doesn't say that. Wish it did.
It did.
I enjoy tasting to enhance my experience include crisp bacon strips, spiced nuts, and wasabi peas, breadsticks, banana pudding, or some chocolate squares. This is complicated. Yeah. New favorite, the highball. I have only recently started getting into highballs, and I love it. The sparkling soda water has allowed me to enjoy whiskey much more by just toning down the alcohol majorly and opening up some nice aromas. Next, pay attention to your tasting order. After you've done so, I have a few rules I like to abide by. First, try to start with the best whiskey first, after you warm up. A lot of tasters will tell you to save the best for last, but the reality is that the time your palate is on the fourth whiskey, the majority of your taste buds are essentially desensitized. Going into the best whiskey last can be underwhelming. Same with my friend, the great Jesus at a wedding. Bring out the best wine first.
Bring out the best wine.
Next, yes, you need to add water to your whiskey. Taste the whiskey once, add some drops of water, and try it again. Then fire in the hole, add some ice, like our friends at Chill Filter. Doesn't say that, probably should though. But adding warm or hot water to your whiskey will subsequently open up the whiskey's pores. This will instantly take down the alcoholic content and raise sweet, floral, and briny flavor notes instead. How to taste peated whiskey. Either start and end your night entirely with peat and smoke, or start your night on the other spectrum with sweet, more floral whiskeys, then move towards the peated. To ice or not to ice. I tend to have avoided having ice with my whiskey, but some of the people I look up to most in the whiskey industry love like a good cube or rock in the mix. Doesn't say that, but we wish it did. But my reason here is also simple. As I mentioned before, whiskey is extremely porous. Think of it this way. When you wake up, you have a hot shower, which opens up your pores. On the contrary, when you have a cold shower, your pores tighten up. When you add ice, the whiskey will cool down and its pores will close. That cold whiskey will in turn close your tongue's pores up, leaving you to taste 20 to 30% of what you were intended to taste. And that's where it stops. So, Cole.
Well, I think he's like kind of obsessed with pores, first of all.
We are too. And we love pores. Pouring these whiskeys in my mouth.
Yeah, pouring pores into my mouth. Not to my pores, though. It's not exfoliating. But anyway, I don't know. I just feel like he said pores a lot and like talked about whiskey having pores and then talking about our tongues having pores. And it's just kind of.
And our showering pores. Yeah, lots of pores.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I don't know. I mean, he had some good points. It's like, yeah, you might want to do an entry buzz. You should try it if you can, especially if you can like afford, like if you have more than a 2-ounce pour, like, yeah, try it with water, try it with ice. And if it's not too expensive, yeah. But either way, you know, if you're into ice, maybe try it with some ice. But, you know, as we found on this podcast, like when I started with Chill Filtered, I didn't really respect putting ice or water in whiskey, but there's been plenty of times I've been proven wrong where it's the better pour is ice or water. So I don't know. He's got some great points. Really obsessed with pours, but that's okay. Yeah. What do you think?
I think the same. I think it's interesting because there's some things that we do that fall in line with that, like the entry buzz. And I thought one thing I did find interesting was like eating celery and cream cheese.
Yeah.
In French bread. Well, you're
into that.
Whiskey. I'm into that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I could eat
nice French celery cream cheese sandwich.
Cream cheese,
It doesn't sound too shabby.
Not too shabby at all. No, you're living the luxury life if that's the case. So.
Oh yeah. Although when I originally the article did remind me of how in early episodes of Chill Filtered lore frequently was discussed the sipping technique, which
which
I don't
if you hold your breath as you take in your first sip and give it a good nose, but hold your breath a little bit. Then you're going to swallow the whiskey and then you're going to wait like 2 or 3 seconds and slowly let the air back into your nose. That's the method that we talked about plenty of times. But if you haven't heard it, try it out. It might really enhance your whiskey tasting. I learned that from Jay Willard. Shout out to Jay.
Mr. Willard. Did you ever, you're probably too young. You don't remember, but do you know of Mr. Wizard?
I know about the Wiz because I'm the Wiz.
No,
but I don't know Mr.
You know Mr. Wizard. He was a Nickelodeon scientist who would do experiments accompanied with children, not with children. He wouldn't experiment on children. So anyway,
that's cool. Well, the Wiz might, knowing him from Seinfeld.
Oh, I was thinking of the Wiz, the Wizard, the Super Mario Brothers 3 propaganda film starring.
Oh yeah,
what's his face from the Wonder Years? Fred
Savage.
Mm-hmm. And I believe
I don't know anything about this.
Oh, you've never seen that?
I've seen Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, when Super Mario Brothers 3 came out, Fred Savage and his.
I didn't know there was even a sequel.
It's Super Mario Brothers 3. You didn't know there was a sequel to Super Mario Brothers 3?
Didn't even know there were two.
Or didn't even know there were two? The Super Mario Brothers. Oh gosh, and there's like all the Cole.
You're like, I'm disappointed in you.
I am.
That's funny.
Can I say I'm officially unproud to be part of this podcast?
Yeah.
No. Anyway,
that doesn't mean I have to watch it though.
It's like Rain Man with kids going to a Super Mario Brothers to a Nintendo gaming contest.
Oh, I've seen The Wiz. I mean, I don't remember any of it, but I remember that movie called like The Wizard or something like that.
Yeah, with Fred Savage. Anyway, so let's move on to our next segment we like to call "What Else Does Cole Not Know?" Cole.
Yeah.
What shape is the Earth?
It's not flat.
Oh! You got you
got
upset
people riled up, man.
You upset the people. Me being the people as well. I'm one of them. No, it's time for What Whiskey Would You Choose, part of the show where we pick two whiskeys on a premise, we write it, we talk about it, and we share it with each other, and we expect you to share it back with us. And unfortunately, like I said, it's been a week, posted this stuff late, so it's incomplete data, or data. So let's go ahead and take a tour of the results. Anyway, last week we talked about what's your autumnal equinox whiskey around the fire. I went with Colonel E.H. Taylor Small Batch. Cole went with Wilderness Style Rye. Currently, we got about 12 more hours left on this, but currently I am winning 53 to 47% there.
So that's close.
It is close. Got some write-ins here. And if you write in after this, I'm so sorry. We'll say we're going to share them. We probably
next week, write in too, and we'll probably get you.
Yeah. Drumhound, it's got to be a rye. This year, it was Woodinville Cast Strength Rye Pick.
Nice. Washington State.
And he says from Oregon, but
wrong.
This is the first time I feel superior to Dramhound in any way.
Got you, Dramhound.
Yeah. But you know what? That's fine. Like, honestly, the East Coast is a mystery to me. You're talking about Maryland. I'm like,
Sagamore.
I don't know. Like in my mind, I know it's like north of DC, south of DC.
South, technically.
So
well,
I don't really even know.
There's parts of it that are south, parts of it are north, but Baltimore is typically south.
Oh my gosh. I just got it. Sagamore. Yeah. The more is from Baltimore.
Wait, the crap.
Is the more from Baltimore?
No. It's north. Baltimore is north of DC.
Okay. See, it all blends into me, man. All I picture are Monday Night Football vignettes of cities and stadiums. That's all I know about the East Coast. No, really. I don't know. Like Pittsburgh, I can see, you say Pittsburgh, and I right away I see the Three Rivers. I see them.
Really?
From a blimp point view. Yep.
Yeah, Baltimore is northeast of DC.
So it's all a mystery to me. East Coast, I don't even know.
Wait, do you know where where Pittsburgh is versus Philadelphia?
Nope.
Really? Which one's more east?
Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia. I'd say Pittsburgh is more east than Philadelphia.
No, Pittsburgh's on the far west end. Philadelphia's on the far east end.
I don't even know. I know. Yeah. And knowing is half the battle.
Half the battle. The more you know.
Also, Sagamore, how have we not said lift a less? Am I right?
Or Sagamore, how about you firmamore?
Okay. All right. I'm with you.
Terrible joke.
Good for you,
Cole. You tried.
A for effort. Bryce Marie writes in, probably Del Bach, but since I use that answer a lot, balcones.
Nice.
Single malt.
We
Look at the
gotta do an episode
balcones on this
balcones.
guy.
Yeah. Some balcones on this man.
Our good friend Brian Rapp, who sent us this sample. Beryl Armida. Brotascanaskinos, our Canadian turtle
we
friend.
have a sample of from Brian, so we'll have to sit that
the Beryl Armida.
Yeah.
I didn't even read through. There's so many samples. I had to stop reading them because I had other things I had to do.
He also gave us what is it? Floki dung smoke, cheap dung smoke.
There was a
birch finish,
and we got an extra. Okay,
just for the heck of it. Dude, what a baller! Give me a moment,
baller. Ooh,
all right.
That was nice. Anyway, Brotascanaskinos is rare breed, nice enough to be good, cheap enough to not worry, and it's hot. And I think that's kind of thing. Like you want a hot whiskey, right?
Something less than or more than 90 proof.
Equinox. Yeah. And then our good friend John friggin' Voldemort Hughes went with Starlight Double Oaked Rye.
I have never had Starlight, and I would love to try it.
And I have never had half the things John's had because John is all over the place.
John is a Renaissance man.
He is. He's a man of men.
He's a manly man,
and we're
not the manliest man. That goes to the courier, but he's probably second to
manliest man.
He doesn't let me squeeze his muscles though.
You know, when John was here in Boise, I didn't ask. He probably would have let me.
He
would
let
his
you.
Muscles.
Yeah.
I don't know. He'd probably brush me off.
No, he would let you. No, John.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing is, John and I hung out, and we both have our respective podcasts.
Yeah.
And later that night, he goes, "How bad are we at social media? We didn't even take a picture to commemorate this." It was just true. I'm like, I don't think I'm like
I don't think on social media terms.
I don't like. I just don't post it. I don't go there. I just don't.
We need to.
You know what my new hobby on social media is?
What's that?
I'll go through Instagram and I'll search like skateboarding, and I just like to random skateboarders clips they upload.
Give them some love.
I do, and now my feed is like every fourth video is a skateboarder that comes up in my feed, and I'm like, like it. I like it.
You're like you are like the true musician lover you are, and you buy albums. I don't know if you do anymore. I think you do.
Oh, man. Chelsea and I had a conversation this week. We're like, we feel bad, but we don't buy albums anymore. We'll buy albums on vinyl because I think that's probably the purest way to enjoy an album.
But you guys have a budget for like music, from what I remember.
Well, it's transitioned to a personal budget, but we did used to have a monthly music budget.
Just to support musicians.
Yep.
Love it. What's the last thing you listened to? Or like in terms of like intentionally listened to?
Well, it's almost spooky season, so I've been listening to the Misfits.
Nice.
Yeah, what is it? Future Monsters. It's the one with it's all like monster movie songs. So like there's one about King Kong, and there's gosh, I can't even think of all the movies, but it's spooky season. Some Misfits. Now, cool. Can I tell you the album I wanted to listen to today had I had time would have been CKY, self-titled, because that's spooky season to me.
Nice.
You ever listen to CKY?
Never.
CKY is one of like that self-titled album is like probably one of my favorite October albums.
Nice.
Yeah, I always go back to it. What about you?
What have I been listening to lately? Little Mike Snow.
No, okay.
It's not the main thing, but I've been listening to some Mike Snow altogether. They're self-titled as well as some of the more recent albums. But
I don't it's kind of a lot of him, but I know there's a couple songs that I've really liked of his.
Yeah, the one album, the self-titled album, they all have kind of like a bunny on the front, but this is like the main one you typically see. Great album, front to back.
Is there one with a reindeer or a deer on the front?
It's like a jackalope thing.
Okay. That's the one I know something from. I can't remember.
Yeah, and it's you should just listen to it front to back. It's just a great album. And some of their new stuff is great too.
I think I learned Mike Snow from the TV show Chuck.
Oh really? I didn't know.
Yeah. Chuck had some of the best music. Like every time we'd watch an episode, I'd be like, a song come on, and I look over at Chelsea, I'm like, "You're buying that tonight, aren't you?" And she goes,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's like when we were watching Dark, and we like got a few songs off of that.
Agnes Obel. Good golly. Agnes Obel is November and January music to me.
Nice.
Yeah. Same with the Twilight Sad. You ever listen to
I need to think of like a fall album to start getting into again. I might get into the Smashing Pumpkins Melancholy again.
You know, it's a good
to that in a while.
That White Stripes album with Dead Leaves in the Dirty Ground. That's a great fall album. That's a good October, November album.
I was listening to something that do you know who Michelle Gondry is? It's a dude.
Oh. Is she dating Denny, the girl?
No. Yeah. I got word of that one. No, Michelle Gondry is he's like you ever seen The Hardest Button to Button music video by the White Stripes?
No.
You should look it up. Everlong's music video. Same guy. Foo Fighter. Same guy.
Big we talked about that.
Kylie Minogue, or however you pronounce that name.
Minogue.
Is it really?
Minogue, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she did a really cool music video. It was like Come Into My World or whatever. Really cool. But he does these special effects that are really low budget, but they're really cool when you like see it come together. But they're like, it's just like creative when you think about it. But like, for example, in Everlong, he makes Dave Grohl's hand get like really big in the camera, and it's like kind of a funny video. But I guess we have a kid that enters the room.
We do. Finley guy's gonna keep talking whiskey and music with Cole.
Yeah, and Finley's just gonna be quiet. Hi. All right.
Oh,
but anyway, this month or this week on What Whiskey Would You Choose, we're gonna go between. I have one that is so this week is my anniversary. And I do have, I don't know about this anniversary, but like if you have a special event coming up, like something like your anniversary or a birthday or something, what's your go-to at the moment? What is your go-to special event whiskey? And I'll go first. Mine is, so I have a bottle of Blanton Straight from the Barrel that has my anniversary date as the dump date. It's not the exact date of the year, but it is the month and day. So I would do Blanton Straight from the Barrel for my next big special event.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of write-ins for Blantons because of the dump date. The dump date makes it great. Mine is not straight from the barrel. It's just regular Blantons, and the dump date is the day of my 15th anniversary. And my plan is to hold on and open that on my 30th anniversary.
That's cool. Yeah. So wait, how long have you guys been married now?
Since 2006. So math wise, that adds 16. Up to 16.
Nice.
Thank you. Yep.
Congrats.
You bet.
Oh, nice kisses. Here's Finley.
The fruit of the marriage from Finn.
Yeah. Fruits.
Hey, fruit.
All right. So next week we're I don't know what we're gonna drink, but I'm feeling like scotches next week.
Sounds great.
So either a single malt or a scotch next week. We'll put it up on Two Pick Tuesday, and we will this week. And please check out Instagram and vote. And in the meantime, I hope you get many more kisses from that sweet Finley.
And Cole, much like you said earlier, I hope Beck continues to nuzzle into her wonderful father, much like Finley is right now. Look at that nuzzle.
But most of all, listeners, I hope that our love of spirits lifted yours.
I said filthy, not filthy.